Have you ever thought about what happens when a person becomes invisible? Today, we're going to dive into a short but really powerful story called The Pain of the Lonely Hut. Now, it sounds simple, but trust me, it asks some huge questions about memory, community, and, well, what we owe each other. So let's just start right there with the central question. What is the real cost, not in dollars, but in, human spirit, when a person is just allowed to be forgotten? This story gives us an answer, and honestly, it's pretty heartbreaking. Okay, so picture this. Our story starts at the very edge of a village, both literally and, you could say, figuratively. In this tiny, crumbling hut, we meet an old woman named Amma. And right away, the location tells you so much, doesn't it? She's isolated on the outside of a world that seems to have just moved on without her. Her entire world had just shrunk down to this one little room. I mean, all she had physically was an old cot to sleep on. But her most valuable possessions, and maybe her heaviest ones too, were her memories. Memories of a life that must have felt like a completely different world.
Wow. I mean, look at this contrast. It just hits you, right? It shows you everything that's been lost. Amma wasn't just some person in the village. She was its heart. She was the storyteller, always surrounded by kids. But time is a powerful thing. The kids grew up, the world changed, and the vibrant center of the community became this solitary figure, just sitting at her door, waiting for someone who never seems to come.
And then, just when you think things can't get any more lonely, the outside world comes crashing in. One evening, the quiet is totally shattered by something much more immediate, much more violent, a storm. And it's heading right for her fragile home.
The storm just strips away the little she has left, piece by piece. First, the wind starts howling. Then the structure itself just gives way. A whole part of her hut collapses. And finally, with no shelter left, she's forced outside, totally exposed and alone. Just looking for help she has no idea will even come. And in that moment, her moment of absolute need, nothing. Silence. The village she was once the heart of, it's like they'd completely forgotten she was even there. The help she was so desperately looking for just never arrived. But then, just when all hope feels completely lost, there's a flicker of movement. It's a small boy, a single person emerging from the chaos of the storm. It's a little sign of life in a moment of total despair.
And he doesn't have much to offer, but he does the one thing that matters most. He sees her. He sees her there, cold and alone, and he does this small, incredibly kind thing. He takes her own torn sheet, the only thing she really has, and he covers her with it. It's just a piece of cloth, but in that moment it becomes everything. And the tears that start to well up, they're not just from the cold. No way. It's this sudden, overwhelming relief of being seen. You realize it was never just about the storm. It was about the storm of invisibility she'd been living in. After all that time, someone finally remembered she was there. And the best part is that one small act wasn't the end of it. It was a new beginning. The boy's kindness didn't stop when the storm did. He came back, day after day. And you can just imagine that with each visit, he was slowly breaking that long, silent spell of her loneliness. But, being forgotten for so long leaves a scar. And even though she had this new friend, the story says she'd often just look up at the sky. Her mind was wrestling with a bigger, more painful truth, one that went way beyond her little hut. And here it is. This is the heart of the whole story. Her wish, just whispered to the sky, is this powerful plea. I wish people didn't see old age as a burden. And with those words, her very personal pain becomes this huge statement on how we so often treat our elders. Those words might have just faded away on the wind, but the feeling behind them, you can almost feel it. The pain was so real, it was the kind that could melt any heart. It's a quiet kind of suffering, but man, its depth is just immense. And so, this incredibly simple story ends up holding a mirror right back at us. It forces us to ask a question that's so much bigger than this one village. In our own fast-paced lives, with our own storms of distraction, who are we forgetting? How do we choose to remember the people on the edges of our own worlds?